Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're back in Way of the Hunter and doing a little catch up with a whole lot of exploration. What does that mean? Well, I've been doing a massive amount of running around on several of the reserves, finding and unlocking all the question marks in all the maps. This has already taken me many hours over a few days with projections for many more hours and days to finish the last few reserves. So far I've covered the last few portions of Nez Perce I didn't have yet. Unfortunately, I wasn't filming this and only took a bunch of photos, which you'll end up seeing. And all of Transylvania, Aurora Shores, and most of Tikmoon Plains, minus story and mission related things like the swings. And while I wasn't focused on completing missions during all this traveling, I did end up taking care of a few, including a specific story mission on Aurora Shores. But this leaves me those tasks on Tikmoon and then all of Matariki and Lintukoto left to go. I accomplished all this by using the various maps and placing waypoint markers on the question mark locations to guide me around to the closest ones to my location, usually hopping around from one campsite to another before setting out, which I repeated when additional question marks were unveiled from the new campsites or lodges. In addition, since my main task was exploring to get these locations, I left my hunter sense on almost the whole time to allow me to identify various animal zones. So what follows in this video are the highlights of my adventure. Some of the more interesting locations I found which I enjoyed, or key points of interest that weren't just campsites or hunting stands, although there are a couple. And if I have video footage, I'll use that. Otherwise, some things I just took photos of. Plus, I'll include a few of the more interesting moments I experienced as well, both hunting and non-hunting related. Some are just crazy. One of the first missions I completed while roaming Nez Perce was to harvest an elk at short range. I did this on accident, but this is the one that scored it for me, although technically it was the second elk I shot. The first one I couldn't locate easily, and you'll see why. The first one ended up dropping in the river, as you can see, and as I was tracking it, I couldn't see it right off. Ultimately, I ended up drowning downstream and had to return, where I got the second elk that scored the mission for me. The reason this was an accident is because I was driving to claim a campsite location when I spooked a herd that jumped up and ran off. The river elk was the one I shot at close range as I jumped out of the Jeep. Here's that one's harvest screen. Next up was a disturbing and graphic mission I obtained at Dustin's cabin. This took me into the nearby woods where I had to investigate a grisly and violent encounter. Here, I came across the savagely ravaged and mutilated carcasses of a couple of cow elk. In addition, a few of the nearby trees held signs of massive slashes where something gouged what could only be claw marks onto their trunks. Once I returned with my findings, Dustin gave me another task to accomplish, which at this point, I opted to complete at a later date. But as I said, the main purpose of my focus wasn't the mission so much as exploring and unlocking all the POIs. Here are a few of the more special locations. Plus, I always enjoy taking a break every now and then just to sit, be still, and soak in a good view. but some of them require a little work to get to first. All this traveling wasn't devoid of hunting, though. I did bag myself a few harvests and all that wandering. Including a nice trio of whitetail. Two of which couldn't part each other's company. And I found a special prize. I'll have to make a priority to come back and get it. Of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't have my fair share of issues as well. Somehow I find a way to get my vehicle stuck in the oddest of ways and positions. Which leads me to Transylvania. Look, rain. Just kidding, sort of. Sorry, that was a little more of enjoying the scenery. Now, let's get back to the exploring, which will include a bit more of the scenery making on my way to the various stops. really enjoyed this location with the autumn trees, the babbling brook, and how it's all formed together. But there's a spot similar to this one coming up where I had an unusual encounter. Stay tuned. Okay, here's the other spot I just mentioned. I stumbled upon this earlier in my travels and was in awe of it. So when I had the idea to make the guide to the game's video settings, I thought I'd come back here to record a stationary scene I could use to narrate for it. This is just the lead up to that location, which when I get there I'll do a short time lapse until the moment in question arrives. Let's just say I was shocked by what happened as well as the outcome. And if you're paying attention to the sounds in the background, apparently there were two of them. And this could have ended badly for me. Anyways, moving on. This part I wish I was recording because as I was driving to a private land cabin, I ended up hitting something in the middle of the road I didn't see that sent my Jeep flying. This is what I hit. Okay, without boring you and showing you every single screenshot I took of all the job posts, let's just say I have them all covered and be done with it. Agreed? Okay, good. Back to the adventure. And just because I was on a new reserve with a new vehicle didn't mean I escaped my driving hardships. course, trudging through this river gave me an idea to use, just because it looked cool to me and seemed fitting for a Jeep. Plus, it led me to a point of interest. Oops, stupid rock or whatever that was. I'd come to hate driving so much in this game, but I'll address that later. Here, I was shocked to find an interesting location that wasn't highlighted on the map, and it wouldn't be the only one I'd find. It was an interesting little farmstead out in the middle of nowhere. Yep, no time getting the vehicle stuck. Here's the other farm that wasn't highlighted on the map. And after that, I was able to get myself in some opportunity hunting. These rabbits started by so fast I didn't even realize what they were until it was too late. But now for some bigger game. Oh, that's nice. An even larger target. And here I get to enjoy a nice little resting spot in the midst of the hunting I was doing. So at this point, I headed back to this private land cabin to progress to the next mission. That wasn't happening. So it was back to fast traveling, in this case with the Jeep. This led to another odd encounter. This guy just climbed right over me. You heard it before, man. The struggle is real. Anyway, so I finished that achievement for Transylvania, and I'm almost done here. After quite a while of traveling and unlocking some more points of interest, it was nice to have this little break for some red deer. Well, that's a bummer. Anyways, that would be among the last things I did during my time in Transylvania, but there were still some other locations, scenery, and harvests I made during my stay. And here are some of the photos I took to remember. A couple of these encounters helped me to work toward completing a contract, while another one finished it completely for me. The rest are just fun and interesting moments. I headed to Alaska and the Aurora Shores after my venture in Transylvania. I didn't record nearly as much nor take as many photos, but here are the highlights. First off though, to give you a little background, I've been trying to work on my perks as well during this whole process, including those dealing with the lever action rifle. So, a lot of what happens from this point on is going to be a result of using Grandpa's old rifle. You'll see why. That's not too surprising. Well, what a shocker. Not really. I told you I'd come back to why I come to despise using a vehicle in this game. Well, I don't have any footage after this to address it, so I figured this is the most opportune time to discuss it as I'm heading toward a private land cabin again, and what will lead me accidentally to working on a job there. Now, I don't know if it's different on console or if I could get better results using a controller, but I'm on a PC and I use a keyboard. But the gist of it all is that the vehicles here handle poorly. It's not even a speed issue. Either the slow Jeeps turn too sharp or the fast UTVs turn too slow. Add to it, the UTVs try to drive over everything, including trees, which is why I have photos showing them with their noses in the air. And if you happen to hit a rock or a log lying on the ground, it doesn't matter which vehicle you use, they all get launched into orbit. This makes it difficult just traveling cross country on some places relatively clear like Africa, but it becomes a nightmare going through the forest. gets to be frustrating to say the least. But to add insult to injury, the devs decided to up the stakes by including not one, but 2 races in the game. One here on Aurora Shores, and the other on Tikamoon Plains. Pile on the hurt you'll experience doing these. If you're like me and you want to complete the achievements for the game, you have to beat the course in an insane time. And in the case of Africa, they put you on the edge of cliffs and going down hillsides and things like that. So, you add all these factors together and you'll end up screaming, possibly swearing, and looking to throw something at your screen. I know it's pushed me to my limits already, and I still haven't finished those races yet. I really don't want to drive anymore. It's just ridiculous.
I'm here, Mr. Clearwater.
Good. I've called more of your colleagues. Not that I don't trust you know how to do your job, but this requires more people.
Haven't heard you this serious since I pretended to mistake plains bison for wood bison.
A wildlife trooper shouldn't joke in certain situations, like this one. Some fool is fishing with his shotgun on my island right now.
What?
I believe it's some kind of dare for him. I've been contacted by Trooper Waters that he already stopped firing and threw away his firearm.
Nina, I'll get in contact with her and deal with the situation.
Thank you, Miss Makowicz. I'll send you his last known location.
You've discovered Aurora Shores rainforest habitat. This rainforest island is a sight to behold. Sitka deer can be found here, and as if that wasn't enough, you could lose yourself in the woods and find yourself up close and personal with a Kodiak bear. So proceed with caution, hunter.
Nina, you there?
You know what's happening?
I'm already on the island, on my way to you.
I'm gonna slap this bastard so hard he'll forget how to turn on his camera. Hey! Hey, stop right there!
Camera?
He was shouting something about viral videos of fishing with a shotgun, but he threw away his shotgun a while ago. I'm worried about leaving it lying around somewhere. Can you search the area around the lake near the cabin?
On it.
Stop right there if you value your life! I only value you!
Sounds like Nina's getting some workout.
Great. No, stop! Stop, you'll fall! Can I let him drown?
Sure. I'll be a witness to your innocence.
I'm going to fish him out.
Without a shotgun, please.
Yeah, can't promise that.
Hello, Mr. Clearwater?
Is everyone out of danger?
Yeah, Miss Waters just had to dive deep in some waters.
You forgot. I don't like these kind of jokes.
Everything is handled.
Thank you. If you find some time, I have more jobs written down for you at my cabin.
It's me again, but I'm guessing you're still working? I just really need some help.
I'm used to working overtime, just don't tell Officer Waters.
You mean Nina? Is she strict? Do you not like her?
No, she's my friend.
I've asked about you at the Wild Soup. They didn't sound as if they like you much.
Are details about my personal life really the help you need?
Sorry, I tend to get nosy.
So, what do you need?
I found this great spot for photography, but there are no animals when light conditions are best. I'm imagining a serene scene full of caribou, moose, and Sitka deer happily drinking together.
Do you want me to make them share a beer and a friendly poker match as well?
No, that's asking too much.
Look, if you stop calling me after this, I can try to get some animals to the place at your preferred time.
Great! I'll send you the location and time.
Anyway, I thought I had some footage to make a montage of driving blunders, but either I wasn't actually recording like I thought, or I inadvertently deleted the recordings. Regardless, that's all I have from Alaska except for the photos I took, which I'll share now. As you can see here, like the albino buck, I need to go back to Nez Perce Forest. This melanistic moose is on my to-do list as well. And as we finish wrapping up the journey through the Aurora Shores, I wish I had a video to explain the last down animal that you're coming up to, but all I can do is tell you about it. It happened after that video segment for the private landowner I just shared with the guy dropping the rifle and running. This was while I was trudging through the woods. I guess I was making too much noise because suddenly I was greeted with a loud roaring growl. I turned to see this Kodiak bear coming out of the forest at me, so I rapidly took several shots at it to get it to drop. and with Grandpa's old rifle, I only angered it more. Luckily, it turned and fled, and only then did I realize how bad my predicament was, as another came out of the woods off to my right and chased after the first one, only to be followed by a third coming out of the trees behind me, running right past and following the other two. I breathed a huge sigh of relief I made it through that encounter and proceeded to follow in the blood trail to see if the animal dropped. Obviously, I found it eventually, only to find I couldn't claim it because it was on private land, which I forgot about because I turned that notification off. Anyway, I don't have any video footage for Tikamoon Plains except for one moment which I'll share at the end. Otherwise, this was the easiest reserve to travel across and claim all the POIs. The UTVs did great in spite of the challenges with them. I mean, every vehicle is like a cat. I can never get them tipped over or upside down no matter how hard I tried. They all kept landing on their wheels. But the relatively flat landscape and sort of devoid of obstacles made getting around here much easier compared to the other reserves. I was able to complete the whole reserve in record time compared to the others. So there you have it. This was the brunt of the work I've been doing in Way the Hunter for a while now. I was prompted to do this after my last hunt with my friend Chester Sylvester, mainly to prep for future hunts with him and on my own, so that it's easier for me to get into the thick of it a lot quicker and to find locations they do faster. Obviously, I've still got the same things to do on Matariki Park and Lintakotu, and I may make a video or two about that when I do. But now I can focus on hunting and completing the missions a bit easier on these few that I put the work into so far. But, as promised, let me show you one of the oddest glitches I've experienced in this game so far. Let's just say I was trying to do that annoying race in Tikamoon and had failed once again, when I had escaped the fast travel and reset, and came up with the idea to walk the course and plan out the best route. This is what I came upon, and I thought it was hilarious. Mind you, I'm in the photo mode, but realize that the action isn't paused, and on top of it, notice the fact that I'm not in the vehicle. Until next time, everyone, enjoy your journeys. Happy hunting. Take care. God bless. Bye. Alright, cut. Reset. Take two. Without the music this time.